Get the read on this from a guy who has a vested interest in this. I'm talking about Texas Congressman Michael Burgess. He joins us right now. Congressman, I know the Democratic leaders are meeting with the president tomorrow. They're hell-bent on saying, look, the $1.6 billion you got, Mr. President, for the wall is all you're going to get. I know you and your colleagues are looking, as is the president, for something closer to $5 billion. Where is this going to go?
Well, the president has identified the $5 billion figure as the dollar amount he needs to defend the southern border, and my opinion is he needs to get the money that he has requested. I know this is going to be a difficult fight, but I think the president would be correct in vetoing any bill that we send him that does not provide him the dollar figure he needs for us to provide defense for the southern border.
Do you think that John Kelly is going to be out of a job soon because he was trying to interpret what the president said earlier on, that it wasn't a full wall, the entire, border with Mexico, that the president was angered by that because he seems to want that wall come, hell or high water?
Yeah, and he's correct in wanting that wall. So, no, I can't speculate as to what or interpret what General Kelly may have meant or inferred. He's knowledgeable about the issue. He was the former Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, so certainly he has been to the border. Secretary Kelly has seen this firsthand. He knows what's at stake. And the images you just portrayed of people literally just melting through the fence as it exists today, that's why the president needs the defensive barrier of a wall, and he should get that.
You know, your colleague, Mark Meadows, is among those being bandied about as a possible replacement for General Kelly as chief of staff. What do you think of that? He has some very tough views on that wall that kind of mirror your own.
Well, I would not pretend to give the president advice for his chief of staff. The chief of staff position is extremely important, and I want the president to have a good one.
So do you like Congressman Meadows?
I think the president has a number of people that he's choosing from, and I'll leave that decision to the president.
Well put, sir. Let me ask you a little bit about where this $5 billion would come from. In other words, if the president were to get his way on this, and you obviously get your preference on this, where would you take it from? In other words.
Well, it would come in the monies that would be appropriated for the Department of Homeland Security. Remember, that was one of the one of the appropriations bills that was not done in September. We did defense. We did a number of other appropriations bills, Health and Human Services, but Department of Homeland Security was not done. It was a continuing resolution, or an IOU, written in September. Well, now that IOU has come due, and the monies would be appropriated out of those monies that were available for the Department of Homeland Security.
You know, Congressman, you had mentioned about the number of illegals who have melted through that wall, so to speak, or in other words, snuck through fencing that's already there. That would seem to indicate that whatever we build, we replace fencing that's there now, and that makes me think that's going to be a lot more than $5 billion, right?
Well, $5 billion is the down payment on the $25 billion figure that the president has identified that he will need in order to provide the operational security for the southern border. But this is the first time, sir, I'm sorry I wasn't clear, that we had talked about replacing walls or parts of walls and or fences up now that are not adequate. And we've only recently discovered with the caravan they might not be adequate, right? Correct. They might not be adequate, which is why the money put forward in 2006 for the Secure Fence Act, clearly that has not been satisfactory. That has not created the type of security that this country requires. And, don't forget, Neil, that we are the most generous country on the face of the earth when it comes to bringing in people legally. 1.1 million people per year come in legally to this country. So that's something of which we should all be proud. So we're not talking about ending immigration. We're talking about providing border security for our citizens. It is the #1 pledge we make to defend our nation, and that's what we should be serious about.
No, you were quite accurate to mention, legal immigration is at record levels, and it has been for the last few years. So it's a good distinction you made there. Congressman, thank you very, very much.
Great. Thank you.